chaumière. Près du hameau, gardant son troupeau. Le ciel brillait, le ciel brillait.
It's always a better choice. My one and only station.
DBS Radio. Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, the Dominica Calypso Association announces an increase in prize money for the 2026 Calypso Monarch. In news from the region, Antigua's government to cover CSEC fees for all students in 2026. And internationally, Russia's president says Russia will take Donbass by force or Ukraine's troop will withdraw. Good evening, I am Leila Langford. Details of the news when we return.
This Christmas, Flow is making the season merrier when you add postpaid to internet. Unwrap a new smartphone for only $10. Plus, we're giving you 35% off your mobile bill and win even more goodies with our Spin the Wheel Christmas promotion. This Christmas, the rewards are on us. Add postpaid to your internet plan today in-store or visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply. Flow, we keep your Christmas rhythm flowing.
DBS News.
Welcome back. Making the headline this evening, President of the Dominica Calypso Association, Gregory Caressa Riviere, has announced that the new prize money for the 2026 Monarch is $25,000. The figure is an increase by $5,000.
The last time the Calypso price went up was in 2009. 2009. I remember that vividly because I was the first person to win the 20,000 in 2009. We are in 2025 and the price, at least the grand price, it remained 20,000 all these years. So what we are saying as an executive, we want to encourage persons to come with the best game this time around. And nobody's competing for first runner-up. Nobody's competing for second runner-up. Nobody's competing for third runner-up. People are competing to win the Calypso Monarch. Hence the reason why our focus this year, or this time around, will be on the grand prize, which is $25,000. 25% more than what we are costing. Our focus now is on the grand prize. The thing is, what we are saying for now, we are focusing on the Monarch, which is the grand prize. Maybe in subsequent press conference, when we look at our returns and so on, we can think of other prizes.
President of the Dominica Calypso Association, Gregory Caressa Riviere. Mr. Riviere says the executive is upbeat about the Calypso season, which opens with the eliminations on December 13.
I must say that this year's Calypso season is going to be a bang. We're looking forward to great things, a great experience this year. We are hoping that this year will be bigger, better, and of course, we expect it to be more experiential. So, hence the reason why we are starting off our season very early. So, elimination is started for the 13th of December at the Coca-Cola, the former Coca-Cola factory, Valley Road. Of course, we are going to introduce you to at least 40 new songs, 12 of which will move on to the quarterfinals, and the others, many of them, will be vying for the road match title. So this season is looking very, very promising. I just want to inform you, following the eliminations, we will have, of course, the quarterfinals that is scheduled for the 17th of January. The 31st of January, we will have the semi-finals. And on Valentine's night, we are hoping to have the grand finals.
President of the Dominica Calypso Association, Gregory Brevier. He says that the response from the business community has been encouraging so far. In other news, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says key stakeholders and ministries involved in the International Airport Development Project will meet on Monday to discuss ways to address concerns raised by residents of DBS. Residents have expressed concerns about the environmental impacts of the mining activities occurring in DBS as part of the airport development. This morning, Prime Minister Skerrit conducted a tour of the area.
What we have agreed to happen is that all of the government will have a part to play in this process: forestry, the environment, physical planning, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Chief Surveyor, among others, will meet on Monday along with the developers and contractors and to go through the documentation, go through the issues and the concerns, and to see how in a more expedited fashion then those issues can be addressed. But the reality is my only appeal to the general public is that we have to appreciate why this is being done. This is being done to facilitate the international airport. I will be the first to say that in the process of seeking to achieve the airport, we should not cause any harm to any other thing. But it is not the first time that we have had a quarry operation in Dominica. We've had several. And in everything you do, there'll be an impact on the environment. Whether you're building a home, whether you're building a school, whether you're building a hospital, whether you're building a road, a footpath, a retaining wall in the sea, there's going to be environmental impact. But scientists will also tell you that there are ways of mitigating against the impact. There's restoration, there's conservation practices that one can employ, and sometimes the environment might be even better than it was before. So there are things that can be done to restore the environment and so on.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Meantime, Parliamentary Representative of the Marigot constituency, Anthony Charles, welcomed the government's decision to pause mining and meet with stakeholders to discuss the issue.
We always had some concern between the two constituencies. It's shared with Honorable Kozia Frederick and I. They're quite fortunate to have two parliaments. But it's shared and we're just under some pressure with the environment impact. So we just come together on hand on this side what's going on. So we get the feedback as the Prime Minister alluded. We're going to pause the quarry or the operation until Monday, until planning and everybody sit down and assess and make sure they get everything right to facilitate this ongoing process. Because if they do not mine the rocks and so, it will have a major cost impact. So we have to go through with the mining and make sure we get everything, dot the T's, cross the I's, and make sure the environmental impact is done properly so the public will be aware and notify as we have our public consultation taking place. We have about 3 or 4 of them took place already. We have one coming up on the 6th. So we're going to inform the public and make sure everything is done right and continue the project.
Parliamentary Representative of the Marigot constituency, Anthony Charles. Dominica's business leaders and professionals will have an opportunity to network and expand their reach in the new year with the launch of the 5th Annual Progressism Summit and Experience. The New Year event is expected to broaden its influence both locally and internationally, featuring speakers from the Caribbean and as far as Africa. The event will take place in 2 phases, a summit and a 3-day experience. The Progressism Summit and Experience is being held under the theme Bridging Caribbean and African Excellence, Progress Without Borders.
So for 2026, we've added 2 elements: Progressism, the Summit, and Progressism, the Experience. So we have Progressism, the Summit, which is January 11th, and Progressism, the Experience, January 12th to 14th. Now, at Progressism, the Summit, we have a lineup of leaders, thinkers, innovators, policymakers, storytellers, visionaries. We've curated a list of speakers we believe that are very inspirational, from Dominica across the region and the globe. Of course, keeping with our theme, bridging Caribbean and African brilliance, progress without borders. And we have a number of areas that will be continuing, but some elements that we are adding. So we are going to have our power talks and our fireside conversations. For January, we are adding in the fireside conversations as an opportunity to have more dialogue and discuss. We'll continue to have our clock in for progress, and this networking is something that's signature aspect of progressism. We are also having the innovation spotlight and startup showcases. So we'll be spotlighting 2 entrepreneurs, one from the Caribbean and Africa. We'll continue for progress moves, our competition, the professional headshots, and the different giveaways.
Founder of the Progressive Mind, Lizra Fabian. Meantime, the Discover Dominica Authority has endorsed the event.
We are not merely marking the beginning of an event, we are celebrating an idea that grows stronger every year. The idea that progress happens when people come together to share knowledge, creativity, and purpose. This partnership reflects who we are as a destination. Dominica is a place to connect, reflect, and to be inspired. This summit captures that spirit perfectly. It represents new ideas, new partnership, and new energy that drive both tourism and transformation. Hosting this event at the Intercontinental Dominica and the Fortune Hotel reflects how far we have come as a destination, not only in developing world-class facilities, but in creating spaces that bring people together to exchange ideas and imagine a better future. To our local businessmen and women, creatives and professionals, I encourage you to participate fully. Attend the summit, build connections, and show the world the innovation and brilliance that thrive here in Dominica.
Product Promotions Manager at Discover Dominica Authority, Odile John Baptist. The Progressism Summit is set for January 11 at the Intercontinental Resort and Spa, and the Progressism Experience will take place from January 12 to 14 at the Fortune Hotel. Executive Director of the Dominica Social Security, Janice Jacques Thomas, has announced that the backlog which exists this year in paying short-term benefits on time has been solved. Her announcement came this morning as the Dominica Social Security presented the annual financial donations to 12 charitable institutions.
As a matter of fact, I am very pleased to report that we have now gotten over the backlog in the processing of short-term claims which existed earlier this year, to the extent that we are now current in the processing of such claims. Therefore, if there is any insured person who have been on sick leave earlier in the year and who may not have received their payment, please liaise with the claims department to ascertain the status of your claim. It must be noted, however, that in order to adequately fulfill this mandate, the Dominica Social Security requires the cooperation and support of the various stakeholder groups for the regular and timely payment of contributions into the fund, out of which cash benefits are to be provided to eligible persons as and when they are affected by any of the several contingencies covered by the legislation. By virtue of the payment of these benefits, the beneficiaries find much needed relief in their time of economic distress.
Executive Director of the Dominica Social Security, Janice Jacques Thomas. Among the 13 recipients of Dominica Social Security financial donations was calls represented by Cynthia Prince, the Education Officer.
I am happy to be here this morning to receive this donation on the behalf of my organization CALLS, the Center where Adolescents Learn to Love and Serve. We are a technical and vocational training institution located at Portsmouth, and we cater for people who want to gain a new skill or to sharpen an existing one, with special emphasis on the youth, the vulnerable, and those that are at risk. Just Friday gone, we had a graduation where we saw those through who have completed 38 graduates in the areas of budding and grafting, traditional headpiece, everyday plumbing, commercial food preparation, traditional ware sewing, small engine repairs, and food preservation. And we've had a number of people who saw the value in calls and participated in 2, 3, and even as much as 4 of our training classes. So this contribution this morning from the Dominica Social Security, we appreciate so greatly, as this will propel us through our training year for 2026.
Cynthia Prince, Education Officer of Calls. Chances representative is Madoni McIntyre.
It is my pleasure to be here on behalf of Chances to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the Dominica Social Security for its generous donation and for their consistent support over the years. The Dominica Social Security has truly shown what it means to invest in the well-being of our nation's most vulnerable children. At Chances, our mission is simple but powerful. That is to provide a safe, nurturing, and supportive home for children who have experienced difficult circumstances. We offer residential care, emotional support, educational assistance, counseling, life skills development, and a stable environment where every child can grow, heal, and thrive. Our team works daily to ensure that each child receives not only shelter, but love, guidance, and opportunities for a brighter future. This donation will go a long way in strengthening our services to meet the day-to-day needs of our children, and most importantly, it allows us to continue to offer the consistent care and stability that our children deserve. I also want to take a moment to encourage the public to continue to pay their Social Security contributions.
Chances representative Madoni McIntyre. That's the national focus, regional and international developments up next.
This Christmas, Flow is making the season merrier when you add postpaid to internet. Unwrap a new smartphone for only $10. Plus, we're giving you 35% off your mobile bill and win even more goodies with our Spin the Wheel Christmas promotion. This Christmas, the rewards are on us. Add postpaid to your internet plan today in-store or visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply. Flow, we keep your Christmas rhythm flowing.
DBS News.
In news from the region, Antigua's Prime Minister Gaston Brown announces that government will cover the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate (CSEC) exam fees for all students in 2026. This initiative aims to ease the financial burden on families and increase access to education. He also said that tuition at the University of the West Indies Five Islands campus will be free for Antiguan citizens once ongoing upgrades to the campus are completed. Brown made the announcement during the presentation of the 2026 national budget in Parliament, outlining a series of education measures his administration plans to roll out next year. And internationally, Russia's President Vladimir Putin has warned again that Ukraine troops must withdraw from Ukraine's eastern Donbas region or Russia will seize it, rejecting any compromise over how to end the war in Ukraine. Ukraine President Zelensky has ruled out the territory. Putin's comments come after U.S. President Donald Trump said his negotiators discussing a U.S. peace plan believed Russia's leader would like to end the war after Tuesday's talk in Moscow. That's news, the DBS Evening Sports Report. Up next with Alian Christopher.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Good evening. Welcome to the DBS Evening Sports Report. We kick off with cricket. Well, St. Lucia drew first blood in a rain-affected first match of the Windward Island 23 and under 50-over series against Dominica. The match was reduced to 25 overs aside due to some early morning showers. Well, St. Lucia won the toss and they inserted Dominica to take first knock. Dominica under 23 posted 139 all out in their 25 overs after a good opening start by Stefan Pascal and Luvio Charles. Stefan Pascal, he got 42 and Luvio Charles got 33. Malachi Xavier contributed with 18. Aaron Joseph was the chief of the bowlers with 3 for 11 from 5 overs. Keon Gaston had 2 for 16 from 5 and Tariq Edwards 1 for 23 from 4 overs. In response, the St. Lucians were in a hurry to finish off the game as they got to their target of 140 for 5 in 16.2 overs. Jaden Ellibox led the way with an unbeaten 87 and Tariq Edwards got 25. Bowling for Dominica, Kyron Phillip, he had 2 for 18 from 4 overs. Delaney Alexander 2 for 15 from 2 overs, and Stefan Pascal, he picked up 1 wicket for 26 runs from 3.2 overs. Well, St. Lucia under 23 winning by 5 wickets. Dominica's captain Stefan Pascal says he took full responsibility for the collapse in the batting after Dominica had a solid start.
To be honest, being inserted on that wicket, it was tacky. You know, the preparation wasn't enough, but careful the groundsmen, they did what they could with the late notice with the venue being switched. But to start it was difficult, but I would take responsibility for what happened with the batting because I felt like I was in. Me and Luvio had a proper partnership of 70 odd on top, and I kind of gave it away when I could have just batted the whole inning. So I take responsibility for that because it was a wicket that was very difficult, and I cannot fault the batters. The Oceans bowled very well. They adjusted, they assessed and they adjusted the plans to the conditions, so they bowled very well. So being in, and I was feeling good. I felt that my wicket changed the course of the game, but I still feel that total was enough to defend, but again, with adding to that, I feel like we didn't bowl. We didn't stick to the plans we had when we went out there. Obviously, we could got a little better to bat, but still, I still felt like we went away from plans. But that is just something to work on, something to clamp down on. But I could see there will be an improvement tomorrow.
Dominica's captain Stefan Pascal, captain of the St. Lucia under-23 team, Noel Leo, says his team stuck to their plans.
Well, the performance of the team went well with the bowling. Starting with the bowling, we stick to the plans. Restrict Dominica to 129 and just come with the batting and just back ourselves.
Yeah, you had a poor start in the batting, I would say. Down, I believe, at 2 wickets for 3 runs. How did you manage, to regroup?
Well, with the team we have, a very confident team. I back all the players from 1 to 11. Also those on the bench to go out and just be themselves. And Jaden just stick his hand today and just bat for the game and get us with that victory.
All right, victory completed. What are some of the positives that you can take, moving forward into your next game? I mean, there are 2 other games to come.
Well, the positive just, I will see our batting to just continue because our bowling will just back it up for us.
And that is St. Lucia's captain, Noel Leo. Still with cricket, Joe Root recorded his 40th Test century and his first in Australia as England produced a roller coaster batting performance in the day-night second Test in Brisbane. Root finished unbeaten on 135 from 202 balls and anchored an England first innings that at times showed restraint but was also marked by reckless dismissals. 4 batters fell for ducks, with England again tormented by pink ball maestro Mitchell Starc, who finished with 6 for 71 to power past Wasim Akram's record for the most Test wickets by a left-arm quick. Well, the scores in that match there so far, 325 for 9 England. Root is unbeaten on 135. Crawley got 76, and Mitchell Starc, he has 6 for 71. The Dominica Athletics Association will host its annual award ceremony 2025 and that will take place on Saturday, December 6th at the Public Service Union. This year's event will be held under the theme Celebrating Excellence, Inspiring the Future, reflecting the association's continued commitment to athlete development and national sporting progress. The ceremony will honor the achievements of athletes, coaches, officials, volunteers, and strategic partners whose contributions have strengthened the sport across the island. The evening's program will feature award presentations, special recognitions, and a celebratory cocktail reception. According to the association, the event underscores its ongoing mission to raise the profile of athletes in Dominica and inspire upcoming generations to pursue excellence both on and off the track. And 4 matches are on tomorrow as the Sports Division Secondary School's netball competition continues. At 2:30, the Pierre Charles Secondary School will come up against the Northeast Comprehensive A in the Under-16 Division, while at 3:30, the Northeast Comprehensive will come up against the Pierre Charles Secondary in the Under-20 Division. Both games will be played at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Further north in Portsmouth, Convent High School will clash with Portsmouth Secondary School B from 2:30, and Goodwill Secondary will clash with the Portsmouth Secondary A from 3:30. Both games are Under-16 Division games. And West Indies assistant coach Floyd Reefer offered a mixed assessment of his side's performance after day 3 of the ongoing test in New Zealand, highlighting improved application from the opposition batters while acknowledging repeated lapses on the West Indies end. Speaking to reporters at Stumps on day 3, Reefer said the conditions had shifted in favor of batting, noting that a flatter pitch and clearer weather made run scoring easier. Rachin Ravindra and Tom Latham hit big centuries as New Zealand punished the West Indies to take a commanding position in the first test.
I thought the guys, they batted well. You know, today was a different day. The pitch was a bit flatter. You know, the sun was out. You know, so that made a difference. But I thought we had a bowling plan, so we before lunchtime, we had them in a pretty good position where they were scoring at 2 point and over, but we kind of let them get away after lunch. But all in all, I thought both guys, they really applied themselves. They leave the ball well, they played the ball late, and they played some nice cricket shots.
And that's West Indies assistant coach Floyd Reefer. Well, Ravindra got 176, Tom Latham got 145. New Zealand on stumps of day 3, they reached 417 for 4. But currently we can tell you they are 501 leading, that they lead by 501. Their score so far 437 for 5. Folks unbeaten on 10 and Bracewell unbeaten on 14. Jaden Seals picked up the only wicket so far on day 4. So that's New Zealand leading by 501. They are 437 for 5 at this point. We end with some domino. Brutal Forces will be looking to secure second place in the Julius Timothy Independence Domino League as that tournament continues tonight. Brutal Forces can wrap up second place with victories in 2 remaining matches.
The final round of matches will be played in the Julius Timothy Independent Domino League. On Thursday night, second place Brutal Forces will travel to Brantford to play Rosima White City. On Friday, non-players will meet Itasi in Vickers, and on Saturday, Roadbout meet Ferguson Woodford. NATO Full Effects will play West Coast Credit and Jerry Adrian Valiance in Monwachet. Babdad will play Itasi Stars in Brantford, and 2 big matches will be played at Nicky's Bar to finish the league. That's when league champion Brigadier Stars from Peebush meet Brutal Forces on Granby, and Massey Square will play Badside. So Domino fans, the place to be this Saturday evening is at Nicky's Bar in Mao to see the best Domino League in 2025. Delvin Esprit reporting.
Well, thank you, Delvin Esprit, for that report. We can tell you that Brigadier Stars, they have already won the championship, beating Badside on the weekend. And that's how we wrap up the DBS Sports Report for this evening. I've been the presenter of the Sports Report, and on behalf of the entire News and Sports Department, and Leila Langford, who brought you the news, also our links person, Joseph Fadul. Once again, I'm Arlen Christopher saying good evening.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
Good evening and welcome to the evening edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 4th day of December 2025. We begin with this evening's edition of the DBS Radio death announcements on the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. We announce the death of Mozart Dawe, age 71 of Vieques, who resided at Solomon Lane, Goodwill. He died on Friday, the 21st of November 2025 at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. He was the son of Herman Dawe. He was the father of Lindell and Leroy Dawe. He will also be remembered by his grandchildren, Ethan, Cherise, Preston, Nacia, Arden, Yulana, Lindsay, Omar, and Zamir. His great-grandchild, Ariel Wyke. His sisters, Hazel, Noreen, Mahalia, Doreen, and Tessa Dawe. Marceline George Wilson, Judith McGlure Joseph, Cornelia McGlure, and Ailey Walter Clark. His brothers, Joseph and Marcellus Walter, Wagner, Alexander, Dexter, and Wellington Dawe. His sisters-in-law, Clara Drago Dawe, Linda Walter, and Judy Dawe. His brothers-in-law, Helias Joseph and Sean Clark. His uncle, Lennox George. Aunts, Claudia Odin and Cynthia Christian. His nieces, Natasha, Tori, Tracy, Carrie-Ann, Melissa, Jocelyn, Adriska, and Allison. Nephews, Kenny LeBlanc, Ken, Kenson, and Keegan Joseph. Well, that should be Kenston and Keegan Joseph. Seth Clark, Travis and Tyler Dawe, Denny LeBlanc, Albert Romaine, Michael, Wayne, Anthony, and Junior John, and Vandel Warner. His godchild, Shane Joseph. Families, the George, Dawe, LeBlanc, Bethelmy, Augustine, and Royer families. Close friends, Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, the community of Vieques, Lower Canefield, Solomon Lane, Goodwill, staff and council members of the Canefield Urban Council, Mensma Alexis, Sonia Massicott, Martin and Melissa Suarez, Alex Royer, Tamara Sentemi, Rosman, Dr. Yudi Ferrara, and nurses of the Alford Ward at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. Other relatives and friends as well, names too numerous to mention. The body of the late Mozart Dawe of Vieques, who resided at Solomon Lane,